Over 1.13 million animals, not including mice or rats, are being tested on in the U.S. This has been concluded in a recent study done by the Animal Welfare Association. Today I will be talking about the problem with animal testing, how this is a problem, and the solution. One problem with animal testing is that it is a bad science. It has been stated that every major medical advance is attributed to the experiments on animals. This is simply not true. An article published in the esteemed Journal of the Royal Society of Medicine has evaluated that this very claim and concluded that it was not supported by any evidence. Most animal experiments are not relevant to human health. They do not contribute meaningful to medical advances, and many are undertaken simply out of curiosity. Another thing that has been stated is if we didn't use animals, we would have no tests. We'd have to test new drugs on people. We already do test new drugs on people. No matter how many animal tests are undertaken, someone will always be the first human to be tested on. Because animal tests are so unreliable, they make those human trials more risky. The FDA, Food and Drug Administration, has noted that 92% of all drugs that are shown to be safe and effective in animal tests fail in human trials because they don't work or are dangerous. Another problem with animal testing is that it harms and kills innocent animals. Animals who are used in experimentation usually never survive. If they do survive, they are then killed. A test is done, which is called a lethal dose test. It is also called the LD50. The animals are forced to ingest chemical until 50% of the group die. The others are then killed and are all dissected. The animals suffer extreme, painful, and distressing effects, which include screaming and shrieking, diarrhea, vomiting, convulsions, bleeding from the eyes and mouth, and loss of muscle control. The overall end result is usually death. How is this a problem? One, it is useless. Another problem is that it is unethical. Animals are purposely given painful illness and medical conditions in order to then try and cure them, despite the fact that animals have completely different anatomies to us and to each other. The methods that are used to give the animals the conditions are totally different to the way the conditions naturally occur, therefore making the cure of illness or condition completely different. Unethical. Testing on animals and putting them through cruel and harsh tests, which ends in the result of death, is not right. Animals suffer with extreme side effects. A solution to the problem. Alternatives. Non-animal tests are generally faster and less expensive than the animal tests that replace and improve upon. Some alternatives to animal testing is an embryonic stem cell test, which uses mouse-derived cells to assess potentially toxicity to developing embryos. This has been a replacement for birth defects in rats and rabbits. The 3T3 neutral red uptake phototoxicity test uses cell grown in culture to assess the potential for sunlight-induced or photo irritation to the skin. Human skin model tests are now in use, which includes an epidermis test, which has been accepted almost universally as a total replacement for skin studies in rabbits. The use of human skin leftover from surgical procedures or donated cadavers can be used to measure the rate at which a chemical is able to penetrate the skin. The last alternative is microdosing, which can provide information on the safety of an experimental drug and how it is metabolized in the body. By administering an extremely small one-time dose that is well below the threshold necessary for any potential effect to take place. Strict laws are needed in the United States. In the United States, the American Welfare Act appears to set certain minimum requirements for the human treatment of non-animals in laboratories and other settings, but in fact it is very ineffective. The FDA also contains a law that states that animal testing is disapproved, yet companies should do whatever is necessary and proper to help humans, which is contradicting because, as I've said before, animals and humans have very different anatomies. The issue of animal experiments is straightforward. If we accept that animals have rights, if an experiment violates the rights of an animal, then it is morally wrong, because it is wrong to violate rights. The possible benefits to humanity of performing the experiment are completely irrelevant to the morality of the case, because rights should never be violated, right? Except in obvious cases like self-defense. As one philosopher has written, if this means that there are some things that humanity will never be able to learn, so be it. My name is Nicole Malonis, and this is my product on why animal testing should be outlawed.
Thank you. 6 minutes, 30 seconds. Good. How do you feel about that?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it felt weird.
Why did it feel weird? You've done this before.
Yeah.
This will be the third time.